Before the video starts, thank you to everyone who've subscribed.
What is it?
Gremlins 1984, without nostalgia, is best seen as a parody movie. It satirizes other B-list horror films, but by doing so, it falls to the same trappings as those films. I think this is because Gremlins misspends its time. For having such a slow intro, it forgets to connect most of its narrative promises to the next one, and forgets to transform parts of what it's parodying into something better. You can start and end with an unrelated narration like other films, pointing out how nonsensical they are, but you also need to add something transformative to be more than just the starting point. One of the traps of parodying is that when you point at other people, you need to be explicitly better than them, or else it looks like you're pointing in the mirror. Watch Gremlins, but take your rose-tinted glasses off first.
Sick. Sexual perversion. If you guys are gonna do that weird sexual stuff, do it in your own bedroom.
The 1988 Beetlejuice movie is a good macabre movie. It begs the question though, who should be the main character? Because even if the ghostly couple are more connected to the theme and setting, the goth girl is just so much more interesting. There's a force of personality that's absent from the couple and only ever found again in Beetlejuice himself, who has less than 20 minutes of screen time, the title character. I mean, the story still works. Tim Burton's aesthetic does wonders. The comedy will get a laugh, and the dated-looking special effects are as horrifying as they were in 1988. But I can just imagine that it would have been more interesting, and being interesting is the hidden lifeblood of all media.
This is ridiculous, Mom.
Nonsense. It's only your first try. But you're treating them like equals. They're sheep. They're inferior.
Oh, no, they're not.
Babe 1995 is one of the few movies I've seen where the theming is so strong that it affects every aspect of the story. To incite change, one only needs to be kind to the world and true to themselves. And when I say every aspect, I mean every aspect. Almost all the animals are cynical and stubborn in their own ways. The farmer and his wife seem to be content with their place in the world, and the very setting itself pushes against the idea of change by being a place a little to the left of the 20th century. By his innocence, luck, and kind-heartedness though, Babe proves that pigs are more than just for eating. What I love about it is how genuine it feels in its message. It is a response to cynicism, and if only modern movies could have a heart this big, we would have more movies that inspire us to be better. Please, go watch Babe. Babe, A Pig in the Big City is the best worst sequel ever. It is not so much a sequel as it is an expansion pack, DLC, extra paid content. This movie will not and cannot be made to make sense of itself only by itself. Superficially, it attempts to create distance from the first film as much as possible. A new cast, a new setting, a new plot, but it doesn't so much borrow its themes as it stretches it thin. There is almost no time for it to set up, no time to, at the very least, rehash it, because we need to make time for all the newness that has appeared. Binge it with the first Babe movie and enjoy the magic as it lasts a little while longer, but do not expect the same art to be there. "1996's Fly Away Home is as far as a dramatized biography can probably go without going full fantasy. This is one of the best in that regard. A modern legend, as other reviewers have called it. This movie might not be 100% factual, but the emotions it creates is undeniably real. A father-daughter relationship that is mended, tested, and strengthened. If you have a child, you will want to watch this. The themes and characters found within the film might be rehashed or borrowed from 1,000 other family films, but you can't really blame it. Real life rarely follows any storytelling principles, and it combines these aspects into something that's truly heartwarming.
I know you very well. Carrie, have you ever been in a place from which hope is gone?
1997's conspiracy theory has an amazing premise. A taxi driving conspiracy nut stumbles too close to the truth, gets blackbagged by a secret organization, escapes, and now, teaming up with a hot lawyer, has to figure out which conspiracy he got right. They could have taken this in any direction, and they chose to shift the second half to the lawyer's POV. That's why the movie's mid, in my opinion. Not because Julia Roberts is a bad actress, but because I was really enjoying Mel Gibson's mental breakdown. The POV shift forces an extra half hour of exposition, her backstory, her father's death, blah blah, I do not care about it. I'd still recommend it if you're a Mel Gibson fan. Just know it is bloated.
Come to me, jungle friends.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, is an extravaganza of the insane. Truly, character is the single most important aspect of a movie. You can have a mundane setting, the most nonsensical plot, and the absolute emptiness of theme if only you cast someone as bombastic as Jim Carrey. He carries this movie, but not single-handedly. Every other character has been created specifically to highlight what makes Jim Carrey so special. A love interest to show his true humanity, a villain that brings out and tests his inner animal, and a squad of laughing policemen to push him over the edge. The characters make this movie. All of them.
The mother rhino is giving birth.
Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, is perhaps the most racist movie I have ever seen. It throws away the one redeeming value of the first movie in favor of upping the crazy 1,000-fold. Now, Ace is no longer an eccentric but brilliant detective. He feels more like the insane man that people think Ace Ventura is, that only happens to be a detective at times. This is what happens when you place all your eggs on the acting chops of one man. Jim Carrey is a brilliant actor, and most likely not a raving racist in real life. But not even he can avoid the one truth in storytelling, that a single point does not create a character web. You don't need to watch this movie, but I still recommend the first one, if only to study what makes Jim Carrey so great.
While watching Enemy of the State, something's going to nag at you. But the snappy editing, fantastic cinematography, and overall good pacing keeps you occupied. Once the movie ends though, the nag comes back and you begin to ask questions. The biggest of which for me is, why doesn't Brill appear earlier in the movie? My answer to that is, in the second act, the film isn't interested in its plot or characters more so than it is invested in portraying the perfect depowerment fantasy. It gets a little self-indulgent with it, and far from me to say that fantasy is bad, but the thing about depowerment is that unless you're briefed about it beforehand, it's not a very fun thing to watch. It's thrilling, but as a writer, I would love if Brill was more foreshadowed in the beginning and had some on-screen involvement since Act 1. I still recommend the movie though. Those hacking scenes are simply to die for.